Tertiary Minerals has told investors that its Zambian subsidiary, Copernicus Minerals, has signed a binding letter of agreement with First Quantum Minerals on its Mochai copper project in Zambia. To talk about this and the rest of the portfolio, I'm joined by founder and executive chairman Patrick Cheetham. So first of all, Patrick, talk to me about First Quantum Minerals and why Tertiary Minerals wants them as a partner.
Yes, I've been delighted to do that actually, because we've been working with First Quantum for a couple of years now. We have a technical and data sharing agreement with them that's been quite long standing. So we've got to know them over a period of time, but I guess they're pretty well known anyway to the investment community. You know, they're a major global copper producer. They're the largest copper producer in Zambia, produced nearly half of Zambia's copper in 2023. And they're a good explorer. You know, we find them very easy to deal with, and so yeah, it's they're a great partner, and more particularly, I suppose, for this project. You know, our project is located next door to their Trident mining complex. So our license adjoins their license, and within the Trident mining complex, they have the giant Sentinel copper mine, as well as the Enterprise nickel mine. So you know, it's a great fit for us. So yeah, we're delighted to be involved with them.
So obviously they know their copper projects, Patrick. So what does the Mochai copper project have that both Tertiary and First Quantum is keen to develop? How commercial an opportunity is it?
Sure. So I mean, I have to say it's still an exploration stage project, but it's more than just a grassroots project. So First Quantum have been exploring for quite a while on their overall global package there at the Trident project. And right adjoining our license, they have an area called Tirosa that they've drilled. So they found mineralization right up to our boundary. And then on our side of the boundary, we did work last year which defined a very coherent and good copper soil anomaly. So we see that soil anomaly showing the extension of the mineralization on the other side. But from a commercial perspective, you know, being right next door to their Sentinel copper mine, if something is found there of significance, then we don't need to start a new mine plan. We just basically feed through to their existing plant, and that's one of the great attractions here, because the Sentinel mine is a 50 million ton a year mining operation. Yeah, the joint venture that we have here is great for us because the hurdle is very high for First Quantum. They have to prove nearly, well, over $700 million worth of copper before they can earn any interest in our ground. And they're keen to find new sources of supply for the mine.
And they're giving Tertiary money as well, aren't they?
They are, yeah. I mean, it's a great deal for us. It'll be good for First Quantum. You know, if they find more feed for the plant.
So what's the ambition ultimately for the copper project? Is the understanding to explore, develop and sell on, or do you want to become producers, the pair of you?
They're already produced, of course, so and at this locality. So, you know, for us, you know, we don't need to make that decision yet. And I think that's a key point. We don't need to make the decision whether we want to be a contributor to the operation, because they can earn up to 80%, which leaves us with 20%. But, you know, we're actually free carried all the way to a decision, not just to mine, but where the mine is fully permitted. So at that point, you know, we have a very easy decision, and we have alternatives. We can either contribute, or we can dilute, or we can just take a royalty on production. But
Okay.
it's, you know, we know that First Quantum are keen to be drilling there as soon as possible.
Okay, so I think that this next question is possibly a little bit redundant, because obviously shareholders will want to know when this will be revenue producing within the grand scheme of things.
Well, I suppose interesting to just say that the project, the joint venture, can be revenue generating for Tertiary even before production. because within the joint venture terms, First Quantum have to pay us up to $2 million over the course of the exploration phases, the 3 exploration phases. So it becomes revenue generating for us, provided the First Quantum are continuing and finding something. And then, compared to a normal mining operation where it's perhaps a standalone operation, this could be in production actually much more quickly, simply because it's just a satellite mining operation for an existing process plant.
So turning to your other operations and the Conola West project, also in Zambia, you have a deep drilling program with KoBold Metals, a huge name, but have huge gains been made in the current drilling program?
So, I mean, the short answer is yes, and perhaps I can put a bit of flavour on that. As you say, KoBold is a big name, particularly in Zambia, and although it's a private company, it's well known now because of the investors that are present in KoBold. So, it's backed by a whole host of Silicon Valley investors. Started up with funds from Bill Gates Breakthrough Energy Ventures, likes of Jeff Bezos. These guys are invested in KoBold, and they have some very deep pockets. Spent over, I think, over $150 million on exploration last year. So the objective of this drilling program and the joint venture we have with them is to look for deep extensions to what is one of the world's great copper deposits and series of deposits in the Conola area. It's quite pioneering in that it is very deep. And we started drilling here in about, I think it was towards around the end of April. And I think investors have lost a little bit of interest because it's such a deep hole that it is taking a long time. We ourselves thought that the hole would be probably completed by the end of June. And that's just not proved to be the case. Drilling has been slower than we expected. Because we were using a new drill rig here, that we had some teething issues, which are well behind us now. The message I would like to get across to our shareholders, I think, is that KoBold are absolutely committed to completing this hole down to its target. We're still above the target. We know they've spent over $1 million on this hole already, so they're not going to give up. They have the deep pockets to complete this job. We've not seen anything in the hole now that discourages at all. But so, it's continuing as planned, and it's exciting because of the size of the target that we're looking for.
So, Patrick, you mentioned a series of deposits there. So, just how copper rich is Zambia? Is this the new gold rush, but in copper?
Well, I think that's a good way to describe it, to be honest. The Zambia has always been a big copper producer. There's an area of Zambia that they call the Copper Belt, and it extends, through the area that we're working into Congo, where there are big copper deposits being found. And there is, within the Conola area that we are working, the main deposits there had a pre-mining endowment of nearly 1 billion tons, about 2 to 3% copper. And the deposit that KoBold is already working on is higher grade even than that. So, and there are a number of billion-ton deposits that are actually being mined. So we're seeing, huge investment in Zambia at the moment in the copper industry, and it's being driven by, copper's use as a battery metal, of course. And I think everyone's very bullish on the long-term price for copper. But we've seen, over $10 billion of investment into the copper mining industry in very recent times, and it's driven by the Zambian government's favourable investment regime for copper.
And staying in Zambia, what else have you got going on in the country?
For ourselves, we have a number of additional copper exploration projects in Zambia. We have been working on those, I guess, for a couple of years and taking them in some cases from very grassroots. So our objectives last year in 2023 was basically do all the complete all the basic work that took the projects to the drilling stage. So we now have 3 other projects in Zambia which are drill ready. And this is in addition to the joint venture with KoBold, the joint venture with First Quantum. So, we hope to be drilling on those projects this dry season. So, the news flow should be very good in future. So it's a pretty exciting time for tertiary. Yeah.
So will we be expecting any news flow from Nevada, though? I get the feeling that it's the least favored child within the portfolio.
I guess it would be easy to reach that conclusion. And I think just by way of explanation, there is differences between the mining, the mining law and in Zambia and the mining law in the US. So the Zambian mining law really has a sort of use it or lose it structure. So you have things you have to do every year, expenditure commitments. Whereas in Nevada, particularly, you have mining claims, which as long as you pay your mining fees every year, you could hold them for 100 years. So there's no pressure. So, when projects are competing for funds, it's kind of you pushed a little bit in the way of those that have use it or lose it characteristics. So that's why it would appear to be taking a back seat. But last year we did bring one of our projects, Brunton Pass copper project, up to the drill stage, and we've got 4 holes planned to drill there, which we will do when when the priorities allow.
And finally, Patrick, your website, new website, it's a thing of beauty. I'm certainly appreciating it. But do you think that shareholders are appreciating not just the new website, but the company as a whole?
Well, I guess it's always a difficult thing for a chief executive to say. 'Cause I know that most chief executives will say their companies are undervalued. But I would kind of leave it for your viewers to have a look at the spread of projects we have, the monies being spent on our projects, and the monies that are being committed to our projects. We have a market capitalization of just £2.7 million. And I do feel that when you look at our company compared to our peer group, which have similar projects in similar countries, then I think we do represent a good opportunity.
Many thanks, and thank you very much indeed for giving us a wholesale visual of the entire portfolio. Patrick Cheetham, Executive Chairman and founder of Tertiary Minerals. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Sam.